in power, which was mainly Hutu dominated. So this civil war led to a devastating genocide, one of the most brutal, horrific incidents of genocide. A large-scale human rights violation occurred when lakhs and lakhs of Tutsis were massacred and slaughtered. On a daily basis, thousands of them were killed by the government, which backed Hutu militias who targeted the Tutsis. This is the notorious Rwandan genocide. So following this deadly genocide, eventually the Tutsis, they managed to come to power in Rwanda. The Hutus who were left behind, who were the perpetrators of the genocide, they left the country and took refuge, took shelter in neighboring country. It was previously called as Zaire Republic. Today it is DRC. It became Congo, now it's Democratic Republic of Congo. The Hutus fled from this region as the Tutsis managed to topple the regime eventually and came to power, and they fled into DRC. Since then, the Rwandan government has pursued these Hutu militias who are hiding in DRC. Given the genocide they committed against the Tutsis, the atrocities they committed, the Rwandan government, which came to power, which is Tutsi dominated, has pursued these Hutu militias who are hiding in DRC, launching a covert war against them. So Tutsi rebels such as M23 have been funded by Rwanda. M23 stands for Movement 223 Mars. It refers to an agreement that had been signed between the governments and the rebel groups. So M23 is primarily a Tutsi group funded by Rwanda. There are Hutu militias as well in DRC. So there is a direct conflict between these ethnic communities. So that is why the DRC alleges that Rwanda is involved, that Rwanda is the one which is escalating the conflict by backing and supporting the M23 rebels. But the bigger question is this conflict really about ethnicity, or is there something more to it? Of course, the ethnic division is at the root cause of the problem, along with a deep colonial history, which led to further divisions between the communities. But today, something else is defining this conflict: the mineral riches of DRC. There is a nefarious agenda, not just of these rebels and governments. There are some regional global powers involved in this bigger conflict. There is a bigger conspiracy at work. From US to Russia, there are some big players involved to capitalize on the mineral riches of DRC, and there are vested interests who would like to perpetuate this conflict. For example, Russian private mercenaries, such as the former Wagner group, they have fought in DRC where they have managed to secure mining rights as well for a very, very precious critical mineral called coltan. Coltan is this blue-gray metal which is very, very precious and widely used in semiconductor, electronic and smartphone industry. It finds a very wide application. Also, DRC is rich in other critical minerals as well, from copper, cobalt to lithium and nickel. So there are some vested interests, foreign governments, some private actors as well, who are interested in the mineral riches of DRC, which is present along the borders of Rwanda. So experts believe that there is a bigger conspiracy at play here. It's not just some old ethnic conflict, it's still raging. Of course, these rebels, both the Tutsi militias, the Hutus, want to control these areas. The Rwandan government wants to have a degree of control because 40% of global supply of coltan comes from DRC, though it is mined in Brazil, Nigeria, Rwanda as well. The biggest supply of coltan comes from DRC.